Captain Freeman, welcome to Deep Space Nine.
Coming up, Captain Freeman leads trade negotiations with an alien species aboard Deep Space Nine.
Do us a favor here, Quark. We're trying to make a good impression.
Maybe. I don't want to make a good impression. I will not stand for this disrespect.
But will a well-known, very shrewd Ferringe torpedo the deal?
This is my salon, and this is my phaser. Oh my gosh, it's thunder! What are you doing?
Merida takes aim at her girlfriend's group of friends.
I'm pirating, let's go!
And Tindy utilizes her Orion pirate skills to save the day.
All this and more coming up on the Lower Decks edition of Energize.
Energize. Energize.
We're satirically going into the uncharted regions of the Star Trek universe.
You're listening to Energize, a Star Trek Lower Decks edition podcast, your source for hilarious analysis, colorful debate, and fun discussions about adventures of Ensign Beckett Mariner and the USS Cerritos Lower Decks crew.
I'm your host, Anthony McLemore.
And I'm Steve Truitt.
This week, the Cerritos is dispatched to Deep Space Nine to spearhead peace negotiations as shenanigans ensue.
Will Captain Freeman and the Lower Decks crew overcome the chaos and save the day?
Here's a warp speed recap of Episode 6 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Hear all, trust nothing.
Captain Freeman, you will be negotiating with the Garima.
This is crazy. Anyone else would have months to prepare for this level of diplomacy.
Welcome to Deep Space Nine. Trade Minister Korzak, this is Captain Freeman.
I was told I would be meeting with Captain Gwen. How are we supposed to negotiate a trade agreement when you can't even honor an appointment? I won't have it.
Quark, I was so impressed with your entrepreneurial story. I believe our friends from the Gamma Quadrant would love to hear all about it.
I'm too busy.
Do us a favor here, Quark. We're trying to make a good impression.
Maybe. I don't want to make a good impression. Oh? And why is that? A little thing called the Dominion War? I don't remember the Karma helping out when my customers were dying.
Korzak, please calm down.
You bring me here to be insulted by this long-lobed halfling? Hey, no.
All right, Steve, so this episode, we got a chance to visit Deep Space Nine.
I tell you, I was both thrilled about that and a little nervous because, as our audience may or may not know, I basically never watched Deep Space Nine. And as a Trek aficionado and a fan, I'm humiliated to admit it, but I just never gave it a shot. And I know about it, and I know all the characters, but I might have missed a couple Easter eggs that you can fill me in on.
Well, I watched DS9. I begrudgingly watched it the first couple of seasons. I thought that it was really, really slow. But then when the Dominion War happened and Worf came over, they went more of a long story arc form, even with episodics in the middle, but it was all contained within this Dominion War. And that's when the show really, I think, hit its stride. So I'll help you through it.
Yeah, thank you. That's what everybody talks about with DS9 is the Dominion War. And I know it was a big deal with the Cardassians. And I even know that the show opening went from just showing the pylons empty to, showing activity and stuff. Because I think they got the message. A lot of people were dumping out of that show. So I will go back and watch the last, 4 seasons, I guess?
Yes. It's definitely worth it because Cisco just becomes a badass. The writing had the gravity, but I think it was also because at the end of The Next Generation, I think a lot of writers went over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe my good friend Ronald D. Moore wrote for some of them. That would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Captain, we have an incoming communication from Starfleet Command.
On screen.
There's been a change of plan. The Cerritos will be proceeding to the rendezvous, but you will be negotiating with the Garima.
I'm sorry, what?
So at the beginning of this story, the Cerritos is en route to support a trade mission with the USS Vancouver. They're doing post-war trade negotiations with the Karma, which is so funny. The species, the Karma. So there's always some kind of tie.
That's right.
So I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, some kind of retribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, this is so typical for Cerritos. They're always kind of just involved in the shitty stuff.
Oh, yeah, they always get dumped on. It's just like, she's like,
Yeah.
So what ends up happening, they were just supposed to be assisting, and then Admiral Buenamigo, good friend, tells her that, hey, the Vancouver's been pulled off, and you will now lead the negotiations. And Captain Freeman's pissed because she's not prepared for it.
I know. She's like, I've got no prep time. This is crazy. And I don't see her as much of a ambassador and negotiator as I think she turned out to be. I just don't see her as a Picard figure.
Exactly.
Helm, just buy me some time to read up on the Karma.
Sir, how do we do that?
I don't know. Just circle around and pretend we're in awe of the pylons.
Yes, sir.
They pull up to DS9, and so Captain Freeman's like, buy some time.
Yeah. It was so great. And, of course, the theme song, which is great. You recognize that. And true to why I didn't really watch it, they're like, what do we do now? Oh, just circle and admire the pylons. So they do that while the theme plays. And she's like, now what? And he's like, just keep circling. And that's exactly, I thought that was a really good nod to the first 3 seasons, which was just kind of like boring.
Exactly. And so I love the fact that the writers don't mind making fun of themselves, making fun of the series and its shortcomings and its strengths.
Yeah, I just keep circling. It was just so great. This is brilliant.
Yeah. So after the
cut to commercial, then we go to Act 1.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe we're at Deep Space Nine. I want to walk the promenade. Ooh, check out the stores. Oh, I bet they have a Quarks.
Oh, Tindy, not just any Quarks, the original Quarks.
You're excited for a franchise restaurant? You guys are such tourists.
So after the commercial break, we find ourselves with Boimler, Rutherford, Tindy, and Mariner. And they're Boimler, Rutherford, and Tindy are like ecstatic about going aboard DS9.
Yeah, they're pumped.
Yeah, it's like a tourist destination now, And I mean, they're pumped up, but Mariner's just like over it.
Yeah, I mean, and true to her character, she's just like, so what? I love that she has that so what attitude about Starfleet, because I think Starfleet in general, because I think, number one, it's a really good juxtaposition to the awe that most characters have for Starfleet and everything Starfleet. And number two, I think it's setting her up for a big character arc a few seasons down the road, where she's probably going to become captain.
Yeah, probably so. And, but that wasn't the biggest surprise coming out of that.
No, because her girlfriend jumps out of the cot. And, Mariner at first is like, and starts rolling her eyes. And I thought she was maybe embarrassed, but no, Jennifer, that's the name. Or it's Jennifer, yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer the Andorian.
Yeah, the Andorian wants to introduce Mariner to her friends. And Tindy and Boimler and Rutherford, they're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah, she's not really keen on meeting the friends and actually tries to use an excuse like, oh, you know what, I need to give, Boimler, Rutherford, and Tindy a tour of DS9. And, and Boimler kind of steps in there. It's hilarious. So they were kind of in on this because when Jennifer pops up, they're like, hi, Jennifer. And so they rib Mariner, too. That's what's really good about it. They know her character traits and her flaws, and so they just basically kind of pushed her into it.
Yeah, and I think at some point they mentioned something like, don't be your bratty self or
your
something.
Bossy self, yeah.
Your bossy self, yeah. Try to be nice. Please try to be nice. The thing I also like about this, and I just want to do a quick commentary on this, is that I think they're handling Mariner's character right. I think where Discovery went off the rails, at least for me, was that they made the sexual orientation of their characters the main point. And in this, it's just like, this is my girlfriend, and let's move on and just keep telling good stories. And yeah, I like that better.
I absolutely agree. I think that was definitely a shortcoming of Discovery, is that every statement. Every introduction, especially when it comes to sexual orientation, comes with a statement. And it's like one of those NBC The More You Knows. on crack. Exactly. And so I think things are best played when you make it matter of fact, and you don't have to put a spotlight on it. There wasn't a statement needed. So what? She has a girlfriend. Is she cool?
Yeah,
yeah. That's all I care about.
That's what I like about Wilson Cruz's character on Discovery is he and Paul. The engineer, I can't remember his last name now. Oh, Stamets. The doctor and Stamets, they're just a couple. There's no, in their thing, I don't think there's a big statement.
Right. No, they've done a really good job with that. It was just when they got to non-binary, it just became more of a, which I'm glad, I'm fine we're touching that. And I think it's a good thing, but I just think that it was heavy-handed.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the original series. Every episode wasn't, Uhura her blackness is the story. No, she's just there and kicking butt, and no one ever thought about it. And I like that we're getting kind of back to that. I think everything should be normalized.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Star Trek is the right series to do all these things. I think that's their brand, and that's what they've always done.
Captain Freeman, welcome to Deep Space Nine.
Thank you, Colonel Kira. I trust you were informed that the Vancouver will no longer be joining us?
Well, it's not Starfleet Command unless they throw us a few curveballs.
So we go aboard DS9. So I was so excited. I didn't know how any of this was going to play out. But So Captain Freeman, Lieutenant Shaxs, and Commander Ransom meet with Major Kira. And I was like, all right.
It was great because, if you see pictures of Nana Visitor now, she's got gray hair. She's aging beautifully. I mean, she's just such a doll, and she's just so great. But here she is in prime 90s form. She's got her dark hair, and she's just really tough, like she always was. And it was really great to see her.
And I thought what was really funny was when Captain Freeman tried to introduce Lieutenant Shaxs, who is Bajoran. And the deal is that Shaxs and Kira know each other. They fought in the Resistance, and it was just hilarious, the banter between the two of them.
And I think it was good for Kira's character because I don't recall her being tremendously comedic. Obviously, she was a very serious character. She was Major Kira back in DS9. Now she's General Kira, and they're out saving each other. I saved you this. No, but then that was because I saved you here. And they're like, or you saved me here. They were literally trying to give each other credit and out-credit the other person.
Yeah, I thought that was just so freaking hilarious. And I was just like, okay, that's exactly how, in a lower decks world, how things play out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing here is there's a good mix here in this episode of upper decks and lower decks. Captain and Shaxs and Ransom are there, and as much of the story in this episode as our lower decks crew. And I like that. I think that's good.
Oh, these trade talks are a waste of time. I don't know how these alpha savages managed to win the war.
Neither do I. But if there's even a chance at making a profit, I'll hear them out. And if diplomacy fails, we always have the other option.
So the Karma delegation arrives, and they're in conversation with themselves before they meet with everyone, and they talk about how they hate trade negotiations, and they're very dismissive of everyone in the Alpha Quadrant.
Yep. And so, true to form, and I think I did see this coming, they're like, do you have the Alpha contingency plan? And they're like, yep, we do. And he opens his shirt, and it looks like he's packing heat. He's carrying some kind of bomb. And to me, I'm like, well, wait a second. Wouldn't that be detected by the billion sensors on DS9, especially since it was a Cardassian ship or station rather, and it would have had all those protections built in? But you can't tell the story if you go there with that logic.
Exactly. So I'm just like, okay, well, that's definitely a nod to what's to come. So be on the lookout.
Hey, can you sign my pad? Of course! I love my fans. For a small price, plus bar tax and processing fees.
Quark! So Sorry to interrupt. This is Captain Freeman of the Cerritos. She and her crew are here on important Starfleet duty.
So we go to Quark's, and true to form, Quark is taking pictures with people and
charging them for it.
Yes, I mean he's a true Ferringe. Everything's about profit, and so I just thought that was so hilarious. He's charging them for the picture. Celebrities don't charge for photos.
Well, again, I think part of my reluctance to watch DS9 was Quark himself. I just think looking at that Ferengi face. No knock on Ferengis, but just watching him it was always just a little disturbing to me. I never really wanted a main character to be a Ferengi. But the thing I loved about this was, again, Armin Shimmerman, plays himself again, plays Quark again. And you can tell he is put in the teeth because his voice has the teeth. Because he had to wear those jagged teeth every episode, and it kind of made his voice kind of sound like he had fake teeth in. And in this episode, you could hear that.
Yeah, and it was so refreshing, and I was just really excited. I mean, wow, we got Major Kira and we got Quark in the same episode. You can't.
I was waiting for Chief O'Brien. But they nod to him a couple of times, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and so Freeman's not really impressed by Quark. I mean, because he's always kind of slimy because everything's got an angle with him.
Whoa! The original Quarks!
Oh, let's get this. It's the bar.
Oh, my stars. They've got Dabo. I thought it was illegal.
Point where it's probably rigged.
Oh, cheating at a Quarks?
Oh, a fellow Orion. Greeting.
Hey, look at that! That's awesome!
Oh, wow. Hi. I'm Tindy. This is my friend Rutherford.
I'm Mesk. I gotta tell you, I never run into other Orions in Starfleet.
Me neither. I guess there's just not a lot of us.
We cut to Boimler, Tindy, and Rutherford. They walk in, and Tindy meets this fellow Orion, which is kind of like a rare thing.
Yeah, and the Orion definitely is he's a true Orion. He just walks up, he's cocksure, he's like, "What's up? I'm a badass, I'm a pirate, yeah!" And Tindy's like, "Oh, great."
Yeah, because as we know, that Tindy isn't someone who really bought into Orion culture, Orion heritage of being pirates. That's something that she basically turned her back on because we last season we discovered that she was really a badass.
Yeah, and I like that about her, and I like that they did that too with Rutherford last episode where we kind of saw his origin story. And I'm wondering if they're setting us up for something here because short of this episode, I think that the two of them have this boiling backstory that they pave over with their really sweet attitudes. That's why they're friends, I think. And we may see something happen soon. I think, maybe.
I know. I think it's kind of that whole Remington Steele. Now we just dated ourselves with that whole thing. Remington Steele.
You did.
Okay,
late 80s, man.
I'll carry that one.
Yeah, Remington Steele to me is a razor blade. Okay, so.
All right, I backed that one out. Let's take that one out.
Yeah. All right. Abort. I'm not cutting this out of the episode. We're not going to talk about. I'm going to let you off the hook.
Yes.
Look who's here! Hey, what's up? Finally, we get to meet the mysterious Lady Mariner. I don't even mind you're so late.
So we go back to the ship, and this is so great because for all of our listeners out there, I lived with a lesbian for 6 years. She's one of my best friends, and what happens in this episode is exactly what I witnessed with my roommate for 6 years, which is just this wonderful gathering of these women and the silliness that ensues as a result of it. It was great.
Yeah. So Mariner goes with her girlfriend Jennifer to meet Jennifer's friends, and Mariner's not feeling this environment. They call their environment the salon.
No. Yeah, the salon, and everything is candle and lit, and there's no tension, and you have to exhibit yourself as someone who's open and free. And Mariner's just like, ugh.
Yeah, so you just know that something else is going to ensue because
something's going to happen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mariner's going to explode at some point just because she gets irritated. This is not her thing.
I was told I would be meeting with Captain Gwen. How are we supposed to negotiate a trade agreement when you can't even honor an appointment? I won't have it.
Understandable, but unfortunate, because we did bring some rather fine gifts.
I don't... Gifts, you say?
So we go back to the negotiations, and Major Kira introduces Captain Freeman to the Karma delegation, and they're immediately untrusting because they were supposed to meet the captain of the
Vancouver.
The Vancouver. I almost said Ventura.
Yeah,
which all would have been right in this world because they're all California names.
Would have been a California class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that's interesting about Captain Freeman is that she's now playing the part of this ambassador in a way, negotiator, by understanding what the Karma really like, and that is gifts. And so she's like, we have some gifts for you. And they go from kind of bitter and untrusting to, what? You do? Yeah, and it pulls them back to the negotiation table. So, for now, Captain Freeman's pulled a move that's settled things down. But in the background, Major Kira and Lieutenant Shaxter continue to argue and one-up each other on who saved who the best. It's so funny, and I love how Trek does this, and especially with Lower Decks, how they take a tradition, like Vulcans are logical, and Bajorans are argumentative but heroes in a way. And they take it, and Lower Decks just turns it on its side and just punches it and makes fun of it. And here they are fighting over who saved who more, or last, or first. And it was great. And I love that Nana Visitor came back and did this and made fun of her own character, and it was great. Yeah, I love it. I love it because I always look at the Bajorans as rebels. Gritty rebels, because they've had to fight on their occupation. Course. Especially against the Cardassians, Yep, exactly.
So, real talk. What's the first ship you ever stole, Ma?
Actually, I don't do that stuff.
Oh, yeah. No. Me neither.
Look, not every Orion does the pirate criminal thing, okay?
Whoa, easy. I'm starting to feel some of those aggressive female pheromones firing off.
We don't all have those!
So, we're, on a tour. So Tindy and the Orion officers is giving Tindy and Rutherford the tour on the ship. And Tindy's really irritated with all of his braggadocious talk of his pirate past. Well, he wields this tool, and I can't remember what he called it, but it's like it's an everything tool. It can be an eye puller outer, it can be a blade, it can be a this, it can be a that, and he's just whipping it around trying to show it off. And the funny thing about that is Tindy's just rolling her eyes, she's like, get this guy away from me, this is terrible. But Rutherford keeps going, oh, cool, neat. He just keeps encouraging the guy, which Tindy's like, please don't do this. Yeah, and Tindy, just emphasizes to this guy, and it's just like, listen, dude, Orions aren't all the same. And in that moment, I could identify with that because, as being an African American, it's a very, we're just like everybody else, of course, and there are different lifestyles across the board. But if you just say you were back in the 80s and the 90s, it was maybe a little different, the perception sometimes. Like, hey, do you know about rappers or do you know about sports? And I'm like, well, no, I don't play basketball. Yes, I have a scholarship. I told somebody I had a scholarship. It's like,
I could talk Star Trek.
Yeah, I can talk Star Trek. I got an orchestra scholarship. So I understand that, but she's also, wanting to, still be, tied to the culture at the same time. Yeah, and I think the other thing, and I know you know this too, is that with him, flaunting his pirate nature, it's the essence of, dude, what are you doing? You're ruining it for the rest of us. We're all not painted with one big brush, and you're just, flaunting the one stereotype that everyone has of us. Stop it. Exactly. So I get it, and I appreciated it, and it made complete sense.
It Looks like we've got a bit of beginner's luck on our hands. Surprising for a man with a coin purse.
It's a clutch, and it's feeling a little light. Let it ride!
Meanwhile, Boimler had left the three earlier and had gone to gamble. Bo Boimler had taken over, and he is winning over there, pissing off the Ferringe.
Right, because he's doubling down. And he's winning all this latinum. And again, I'm just going to do it, step away in commentary. And if you want to cut this, we can. But even just the gold press latinum thing, like there's just nothing about the Ferenges that I'm a fan of because Star Trek doesn't have money. And I know the Ferenges are all about money and gold press latinum. And it keeps going on about the latinum and the latinum. And the fact that Boimler's winning it all, I'm like, all right, good. It's pissing them off. In a way, it made me happy.
Hey-o, guess who got themselves reassigned? I'm doing security for you guys for the rest of the day. How lucky are you?
Mask! Oh, that's great!
Oh, wow, that's news.
So meanwhile, Tindy and Rutherford and the other Orion officer are tasked with delivering the gift to the Karma ship. And Tindy just completely gets annoyed. And, when she finds out that this guy has been assigned to them. And so he's just like, hey, I'm with you guys all day. Yay! And she's pissed.
And I think, I'm trying to figure out what's the play here. Did he get assigned on purpose? Did he ask for that assignment? Is he in love with Tindy? Is he trying to prove something? Like, what's he doing there? And it's almost as if karma, so to speak, gave her that just to test her patience. It's almost like he's not even real in a way.
Yeah, and I'm getting annoyed with him because he just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. It's like, okay, dude, we get the point. You love pirates.
We get it.
You love the pirate culture.
You're an Orion. Thank you. Yeah, wow.
Woo.
Mariner.
Me? Oh, no. I didn't prepare anything.
That's okay. Just speak your truth.
Yeah, I'd rather just listen to y'all's truths.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. The intention I'm detecting is that you're kind of disrespecting my salon.
Oh, no, I don't want to disrespect anything.
Jenny was right. You do love being contrary.
So back at the salon, Mariner is with this love fest.
So great. And again, the spoken word poetry, and she's invited to speak, and she's like, I'm good. Nope, no thanks. Like, and all these women are just like, I'm just going to feel my truth. And as Mariner starts to get more frustrated, the salon hosts are starting to realize, well, I think they did realize, but they're starting to say out loud, listen, I think you're kind of not feeling like you belong here. But the beauty of this is that, because Mariner was told earlier on by her friends, don't be bossy. And so she's just really trying to hold back with these women that are just grinding her gears. And but it finally comes to a head where the salon host is like, I don't think you're fitting in here very much, and I'm sensing this hostility from you.
Yeah, and she said basically that she was, felt disrespected. And she said, Jennifer's right. You love to be contrary.
And she's like, what do you mean? Like, she talked about her.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my God, funny. Jennifer, you're talking smack. Oh.
Talking smack.
Quark, I was so impressed with your entrepreneurial story. I believe our friends from the Gamma Quadrant would love to hear all about it.
I'm too busy.
Quark, you've had such success. Of course, that could open up even more franchise locations in his...
I don't want to oversaturate the market.
Do us a favor here, Quark. We're trying to make a good impression.
So we go back to DS9, and we're at Quark's now, the bar, and the delegation leader is not impressed with the station and all the different species there, and they're trading, and just the way things happen there at DS9.
Yeah, he's completely downplaying all the things that are all the shops and the business that's going on there, and even Major Kira's trying to, boost it a little bit.
Right. So to try to appease this gentleman, Freeman introduces him to Quark and says, he's done this, and he's the greatest trader, and he's got a franchise of Quarks. Yeah. Big mistake. Not what I would have done.
Oh yeah. Quark doesn't want to play ball. And they're
he turns around, he sees the guy, he's like, argh.
Yeah, he's pissed at him because he has animosity because during the war, the Karma didn't participate during the Dominion War. And so at least Captain Freeman, like, shit.
Which is funny, too, because you would think, I mean, look, I didn't think Quark had standards, but apparently he does.
Yeah, that was actually a surprise.
One of them is loyalty, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, so you were a little upset because there is a point in one of the DS9 seasons, and I cannot think of the name of this episode. It's one of my favorite DS9 episodes where Cisco and some of his crew had to go to this rock that they were defending. And at that time, Quark's nephew Nog was a Starfleet cadet, and Quark just questioned his participation in it. And Cisco had to send, because he has great hearing, had to send him into a reconnaissance situation where a guy's leg blown off. And Quark was completely, pissed about it. Would you send your own son out there? And was challenging. Yeah. So it was funny to see that he had some, an opinion about participation in the war. Because at that particular point in time, he thought that the Ferringe shouldn't have. He said, man, we're neutral. We're just all about trade.
Seriously, tense. I bet the two of us could take this ship if we wanted to,
Will you just shut up? You keep acting like pirating is cool, but guess what? It's not!
Oh, he does it again! Hey, man, get off me. What are you doing?
You're cheating, Ewan. Tell me your secret.
I'm not cheating. I'm just the Dubbo King. In fact, triple down Dubbo.
What is wrong with you?
I have principles!
No, you don't!
Korzak, please, calm down.
I will not stand for this disrespect.
I know. Sometimes Quark can come across a little insufferable.
Now things start to speed up in the episode, which I like. We're starting to bounce back. We got 3 stories going at once. We go back to Tindy, and she's really getting annoyed. This Orion is just getting under her skin. He's singing this stupid song about pirate life. And that's it. She just loses it, and it's just like, what are you doing? We're not all pirates. How could you glorify this pirate life?
Yeah, and he basically goes off on her and accuses Tindy of being a traitor, basically, to the Orion culture.
Which is, good. We can see her blood, her green blood, or whatever color it is starting to boil, and we go to Boimler, who's continuing to win. He's gambling like crazy. Now he's tripling down at the table. And of course, the Ferengi, who's losing, does what a Ferengi does, and he accuses Boimler of cheating.
Yeah, I just love it. Because anytime you can best a Ferengi when it comes to money, it's always a good day.
Which is an easy transition to Quark. He's still arguing with the Karma leader as Captain Freeman is trying to just calm everything down. We don't know if there's going to be a resolution to this one, and Quark's just like, just everyone get out of my bar. Get out.
Yep, and very, very Quark-like, If I can't have my way, then no one gets theirs. So he flies off the handle and, kicks everybody out. That's when the Karma leader implements the contingency plan.
How dare you!
Korzak!
Alpha contingency, now!
Alpha contingency. So they take the bomb and they throw it and disable the entire space station. And then the ships that are docked there go down except for theirs.
Yeah. And so I thought for sure it was a bomb that we were going to blow up something, but that wouldn't make sense. What would they have to gain? But now we see the reason. So they disabled the entire space station and stole Quark.
Yep. This was it appears to be a kidnapping, right?
Yes.
We don't know why yet.
Yeah, but right before that, Quark was showing off this machine, and
the something 2000.
Yes, and the Karma were pissed about that, and they flip it over, and that's when Quark flew off the handle. So they were pissed about it. So then they kidnapped Quark
because he had stolen. It's almost like Doc Brown stealing the nuclear fission material and giving them a bomb with used pinball machine parts. That's kind of the ruse that Quark had done.
Yeah, it was
they're like, we're taking this guy.
Yep.
Is that Quark?
This is all a misunderstanding.
Oh, you say. Release docking and set a course for the wormhole.
So then Tindy, Rutherford, and the Orion guy are on that ship, still trying to, deliver the gift in the cargo hold there, and they see the Karma taking Quark.
And I'm just thinking, well, this is going to be hilarious because they're going to have to do something.
Oh yeah, the stakes are high now, and they're stuck on that ship too. So something's got to happen.
The manual latch is fused.
Excuse me, is anyone else finding it hard to breathe?
Come on, we've been in here 2 seconds. It's totally fine. It's wait, it is a little stuffy. Well, everybody, just keep calm, okay? Come on, come on. Oh, the Impulian candles. The flames heat twice the oxygen.
So back at the salon, Mariner's trying to keep everyone calm. She's trying to be the
best
good
version.
Girlfriend that she can be for Jennifer. Suddenly, Jennifer gets on her case and is like, "You're being too polite." And Mariner's like, "What?"
Be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself. So she's like, "All right, that's it. Everybody shuts up," and they're just like, "You're messing with our space," and they don't shut up, right? And suddenly they all realize that because the ship has gone down, the power has gone down, they are stuck inside. They can't open the door, and all some term they said something's been fused, and the candles that they've been burning suck up twice the oxygen that people do, and all the women are like, "I can't breathe," and Mariner's like, "Don't worry about it. You're fine." Shut up. And then she starts coughing. So what's the only way she can shut them up?
She takes out a freaking phaser and starts stunning everyone and knocking them unconscious.
That really surprised me. I was like, wait, what's happening? She is just, talk about bold Boimler. She's maniac Mariner. I mean, she's just really like, to put everyone down with a stun. I mean, I was blown away. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I'm going to use that. Yeah, I think we should implement that when she goes off the rails. Maniac Mariner. So I thought that's perfect, Steve. You coined a new phrase for us. But Jennifer's getting off to this.
Yeah, she likes it. Then this is why she likes Mariner. And this is another allegory, another Star Trek lesson. Be yourself, and the people who love you for it will be the ones you need to stick with. And, there's that message in the middle of all the chaos and the comedy and everything else they're doing. That came through, and I loved it.
Mask, you can save us.
I'm sorry, what?
With all your pirating skills, you can take the ship Orion style.
Right, totally. The thing with that is, I don't know how. I've never pirated anything in my whole stupid life.
So now we got to rescue Quark. So Rutherford, asks the Orion to use his pirating skills to commandeer the ship and get Quark back before the ship flies through the wormhole. And the dude breaks down.
Oh, God, he's such a fool. And you probably saw this coming. He's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not even from Orion. I'm from Cincinnati.
That was hilarious. I was cracking up on that.
Because I've never known
phony.
anyone like me. I've only heard stories in graphic novels or whatever he was talking about.
Yeah, he read it in a book.
He read it in a book, and that's all Tindy needed to hear, man. She loses it.
Yeah, so Tindy goes off, and then she takes charge, because Tindy's parents were actually pirates.
Yeah, and we know that from last season.
Yeah, and so she comes alive, takes the weapon from the Orion guy, and then starts kicking ass.
Yeah, and she's able to use the weapon to program the ship that kidnapped Quark to stop it, like, right at the precipice of the wormhole.
Yep, and then the Cerritos uses tractor beams and pulls it out. So I was just like, badass. Yep. This girl is a badass. I mean, she just kept that so stuffed for the first season and a half. And, she is a badass. And she might be the one who becomes a captain, after all.
She might be, and I dare say she is my favorite character on this show, just because she's got so many dimensions and she's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I definitely didn't have phaser all your friends on my bingo card.
And that's what I like about us. You keep things unexpected. Though, us being the only ones not stunned here, kind of a bad look.
I see that. Well, shall we?
So we go back to the salon, and it's just everybody's knocked out, and it's just Jennifer and Mariner.
Yeah. So we're post hysteria, And this is where Mariner, I think it's a great moment for her because she realizes that she's loved for who she is. Jennifer's like, this is great. And they're like, well, listen, we gotta make it look like it happened to all of us. So they give each other a little kiss, they hug, and then in a selfie kind of way, Mariner stuns them both at the same time and they pass out together. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was an awesome end to a ridiculously crazy scene. So a check mark. I love it.
You stole our technology!
Your technology?
The Quark 2000. He stole it from us. It's filled with Karama components.
So you didn't kidnap him?
No, we arrested him.
I may have borrowed a Karama replicator some years ago, but it was my codes that made it so popular.
So the Karma are now in the brig for kidnapping Quark, and we find out why they were really pissed. So they were mad at Quark because that machine, the whatever War 2000, was something that he stole from them and then put his label on it. It's this replicator. Right. And so they're pissed about it, and everybody's looking at him like, you bastard, in true form.
Now, here's the thing, though. I mean, the huge plot hole here is they could have come aboard and said, we're here to arrest Quark. He stole our technology. But maybe they needed to prove it first or something. I just wasn't sure. There seemed a hole there.
Yeah, but maybe they didn't know Quark was aboard. And it just kind of happened when they were introduced, and they realized, like, oh, no, they came on with the bomb. You're right. Yeah, they
came for trouble. It wasn't even a bomb; it was a disabler. We might have missed something there, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So they had come to actually arrest him. So. It was an interesting twist, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. Quark is always up to something. And so it doesn't surprise me that he stole someone else's technology and took credit for it and made a profit. So so Captain Freeman basically worked out an agreement between the two, and Quark has to give up 70% of his franchises.
Which is the worst thing you can do to a Ferengi.
Yes, he's on the losing end, but he knows, he's not fighting it because he knows he's been exposed.
Yeah, it's that, or God knows what the karma would have done to him. Karma's a bitch.
Yep, and that just really sews it up with karma. That's the species is named the Karma, and Karma played out against Quark. So this was a really, really funny episode, and it had lots of great Easter eggs. And I had two moments that I really, really enjoyed. And for me, coming out the gate, I just loved to see Major Kira and Quark. It was just like coming home for me. And especially with Major Kira getting into it with Shax. I just thought that whole thing across the whole show was just hilarious. I out-saved you. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, for me, my number two, as a rebel of Deep Space Nine, someone who intentionally did not watch it, to have it made fun of in Lower Decks really spoke to me. To have Ransom just say, keep circling, just really spoke to how I saw the show, which was they're just circling around a bunch of pylons. So I thought it was funny that they had that self-deprecating humor.
Always good when you can make fun of yourself. My number one was Tindy just kicking ass. I love her even more.
I agree. I think she's great. My number one was the whole salon experience from the second they walked in to the second they all got stunned. As I mentioned before, I lived in that space for a long time, and it was exactly what my experiences were like. So it was great to watch that and have that represented. It was very funny.
Well, Steve, Lower Decks just keeps delivering, and it's always a good variety. You don't know what direction they're going, and this one was really, really nice. I liked it. I had a fun ride this time.
I agree, and I love that they visited a spot that was a part of our lives, a part of our history. The fact that Lower Decks takes place during post-Nemesis, but right after. It's almost like that filler time, what happened between Nemesis and whatever came next, Picard. And it's so much fun to have all those Easter eggs and references.
Okay, that concludes this Lower Decks edition of Energize. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of Energize, whether that be the Strange New Worlds edition or Lower Decks, visit us at www.energizepodcast, that's podcast with an S.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Anthony McLemore.
I'm Steve Truitt. Live long and prosper.